Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. As is our custom, I'd like to give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting today. The first thing that we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has approved, but our professional and our engineering staff has approved. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to any of these particular cases. So as we go forward, our zoning administrator, Mr. John Peterson, will read these cases into the record, and as he does, if he calls your name as the applicant, he or she will raise their hand and be identified as so. Likewise, if there's anybody here in any opposition to any of these particular cases, if they would make themselves known by raising their hand, and if we have any opposition to any of these particular cases, we will pull that case and hear it in its regular numeric order. And then after we conclude the consent agenda, we will go into our regular agenda. And again, the process will be the same. The applicant, he or she, will identify themselves. Likewise, any opposition will identify themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure at this time to introduce Officer Rod. Officer Rod is here representing all the folks that are first responders here in Cobb County. And as is our custom at this time, I'm going to ask you all to please rise, and Officer Rod will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Officer Ott. All right, John, at this time, if you would, do you have any special announcements or any comments that you'd like to make at this time, John?
Yes, sir, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two cases on today's agenda which have been continued and will not be heard today. First case is variance case V118 of 2018, Michael L. Acree. The case was continued by the staff until the March 13, 2019 variance hearing. So V118 of 2018 will not be heard today. Variance case V129 of 2018, Hill Road LLC. That case was continued by the staff until the March 13, 2019 variance hearing. So V129 of 2018 will not be heard today. I would like to ask people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please put it on mute. The ringing does interfere with the broadcast and presentation, so again, please put your phone on mute. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
Okay, let's get right into it, John.
Thank you. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing consent agenda for February 13, 2019. Variance case V12, Cobb County Board of Commissioners request a variance to reduce the front setback from the required 50 feet to 20 feet, which is existing, in land lot 208 of the 20th District. The property is located on the northwest side of Ernest Barrow Parkway, northeast of Cobb Parkway. Staff recommends approval, subject to sewer comments. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V12? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V15, Rebecca Talafos requests a variance to increase the maximum allowable sign area from 65 square feet to 117 square feet, and to reduce the rear setback from required 30 feet to 29 feet, which is existing, in land lot 212 of the 16th District. The property is located on the east side of Bells Ferry Road, north of Interstate 575. Staff recommends approval, subject to the sign rendering contained in the variance analysis, with the zoning division manager approving any changes. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V15? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V16, Brian Rutherford requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a proposed 27-foot by 17-foot pool and associated decking and equipment, to be to the side of the principal building in land lot 270 of the 20th District. The property is located on the east side of Amos Lane, east of Comfort Well Drive. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V16? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V17, Jason Campbell and Heather Campbell request a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a proposed 18-foot by 38-foot pool and associated decking and equipment and fireplace to be located closer to the side street right-of-way line than the principal building on a corner lot in land lot 601 of the 16th district. The property is located on the southwest corner of Barn Hill Drive and Blanton Court, east of Holly Springs Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V17? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V18, Lisa Miller requested a variance to reduce the rear setback from required 25 feet to 24 feet in land lot 1014 of the 19th district. The property is located on the west side of Golden Club Bend, south of Water Lily Court. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V18? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V19, Amy R. Bowen requests a variance to reduce the front setback from required 35 feet to 33 feet in land lot 89 of the 1st District. The property is located on the east side of Hatton Walk, east of Laxman Drive. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V19? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V20, Norman K. Moses requests a variance to reduce the front setback along Old Orchard Drive from required 30 feet to 25 feet, which is existing. Reduce the rear setback from required 35 feet to 9 feet, and to allow a second electrical meter on a residential lot in land lots 1131 and 1174 of the 16th district. The property is located on the northwest corner of Old Orchard Drive and Willow Glen Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the one-story garage not to be used for dwelling or commercial uses. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V20? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V21, Pennant Park requests a variance to increase the maximum number of allowable signs from 4 to 6 on the same lot of record in land lots 944, 945, 982, and 983 of the 17th district. The property is located on the north side of Interstate North Parkway, on the south side of Windy Ridge Parkway, and on the west side of Interstate North Circle. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V21? Let the record show there's no one opposed. And finally, variance case V23, Megan Gaston and Stephen Matthews request a variance to allow an accessory structure, a proposed pool and associated pavers to be to the side of the principal building in land lot 88 of the 1st District. The property is located on the south side of Gaskin Walk, east of Upper Brandon Place. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V23? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman and Board.
All right, thank you, John. It's back to this board for discussion. Fred, I believe you have a comment to make.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Even though I don't have what would be deemed a legal conflict, just because I manage real estate quite near to Pennant Park, I'm going to ask to be noted as an abstention on that point to avoid even any appearance of impropriety pursuant to the county ethics rules.
Okay, so that'd be V21. You're going to abstain on V21. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I would just ask that you call that separately.
Okay, we could do that. Any other comments, ladies and gentlemen, board members? All right, the first thing we will vote on the consent agenda with the exception of V21. Let's all take a vote, yes or no?
Well, I make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoa, yes, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yes, I am.
You seconded your motion?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of V21.
And I've got a second, Monique. Okay, now we'll do it. All right, I'm getting that way ahead of myself. Madam Secretary, we're going to approve that with a 5-0 vote. Now, Judy, if you'll make another motion.
And I make a motion that we approve V21 as presented.
As presented. Okay, we second, and we'll all vote on that. And we've got a four to approval, and one abstention. All right, those of you that were here for the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. You're all welcome to stay, or if you leave, please leave quietly, and we will continue with our business. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get into the regular cases, our officer of the day is Mr. Donald. Those of you that are going to give testimony, if you would come forward as the case is called, Donald will swear those folks in, and once they're sworn in, all testimony will be given to the podium to my right. Donald, would you please raise your hand and let everybody know you're here? So John, at that situation, if you go ahead and call V14.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Variance case V14, Sheila Lovingood requests a variance to reduce the front setback from required 45 feet to 44 feet, which is existing. Reduce the rear setback for an accessory structure over 144 square feet for an approximately 200 square foot woodshed from required 40 feet to 11 feet. Reduce the side setback for an accessory structure under 144 square feet for an approximately 128 square foot tent from required 5 feet to 0 feet, adjacent to the western property line. To reduce the side setback for an accessory structure over 144 square feet for a approximately 388 square foot metal canopy number 1, from required 12 feet to 9 feet. To allow 3 accessory structures, which is the tent, the metal canopy number 1, and metal canopy number 2, to be to the side of the principal building. And finally, to allow parking and/or maneuvering of a vehicle on a non-hardened and treated surface, which is gravel, in land lot 383 of the 19th District. The property is located at the northwest terminus of Melody Court, west of Rainbow Lane. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V14? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, if you would, just come up to the podium. And for the purpose of the record, would you please give us your name, please, first?
Sheila Lovingood.
Okay, Miss Lovingood, tell us what you want.
To be able to keep my RV under the cover parked on gravel.
Now, is that the canopy? Can you give us a little more information? How about the tent that's in the back and all that? You're asking for a lot of stuff.
The tent had been used to park my car under. We do not use the tent now. It's basically empty. It's just been pushed to the side. The tent really doesn't come into question because we can fold that up and get rid of that in a heartbeat.
Okay. All right. Tell us a little bit about where the RVs are and you've got two canopies there. Tell us why you need
Yes.
both of them.
Well, we built a wooden canopy to park the RV under, and it was sort of over to the side because my car was under the tent next to the house. Well, it turned out to be too difficult to back the RV there. So then we put up the metal thing to park the RV under, and I just pushed the tent to the back, and I parked my car under the wooden canopy, and it's on gravel.
Okay. And do you have any pictures or anything you want to show us? Or
Yes, I
if you have some
submitted
pictures,
pictures.
you could show it to us if you like.
It's on my cell phone. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think this gentleman right here next to you, he can put it on the screen for us.
This is the one that I submitted with my variance thing, and I have a couple of recent ones on the phone.
If you like, Miss Lovingood, you can tell us what we're looking at on the screen as you're looking up the other stuff. Explain to us what we're looking at on the screen.
Okay, that's the front of my house, and you can see the RV there to the left. The little pointy thing at the top of the RV is the metal cover.
Okay,
To the left of that, the covered thing is my car,
okay.
and that part is wood. That's a little wooden one. That was our original thing we were parking the RV under.
Now, the RV is parked on concrete, is that correct, ma'am?
It's on gravel.
The RV's on gravel?
Yes,
But
my driveway ends right there in
Okay.
front of it. I do not have a garage or a carport.
Okay. All
And
right,
it's gravel past that. And then the little silver thing over there to the left, I don't know whether that's a tin or wood.
can you point that
Gerald?
out? Can you, if we gave you a pointer and you could point at that picture, is that,
Yeah, Gerald, is that
is
the
that,
tent before we moved it, or is that covered wood? That's just covered wood.
okay. All right, anything else you'd like to tell us, Ms. Lovingood, or any other pictures you want to show us?
Well, the other picture is the one just like that one, except it was made a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So there's no trees. And then I took one picture from the side showing how it looked from my neighbor's house and how my neighbor's house, we're the only 2 in the cul-de-sac. And so I have a picture that shows that. Let's see. I have lots of pictures. It just takes me a minute to find them.
Yes, ma'am. There you go.
That's from the cul-de-sac, my house on the right and my neighbor on the left.
So again, tell us what we're looking at. I see the sign there, and what is behind the sign? What is that?
The camper,
That's the camper. And then we got a car parked, is that the other parking?
yes,
And they're both on gravel, is that correct?
yes.
Anything else you'd like to tell us, Ms. Lovingood?
No, sir.
Okay. For the purpose of the record, is there anybody here wishing to speak in opposition to case V14? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Mr. Fred Bolin represents that district, so I'm going to turn it over to Fred. Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Levingood. You and I have spoken on the phone a couple weeks back. I appreciate that, and I did share those pictures you forwarded to me with everybody up here. Just a few questions. Somebody on this group that is more technologically savvy than me, which is all 4 of them, pulled up a picture showing your house with nothing out there, basically. So how long have these structures been up?
Probably 10 years.
Okay, so that was an older picture then.
Well, no, the picture's not old.
No, not yours. I meant the one that somebody showed me with no garage type of structures
Oh,
out there.
okay.
It was a Google map, is what it
Oh,
was.
okay.
Right, Google's a little out of date then. Okay. Have you taken the tent down already?
We have moved it, but it's not, we did not take it down. We just sort of picked it up and
Okay.
moved it
Are you
further
will-
to the back.
Are you willing to take it down?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll require that you do so then. And then as to these structures, who built them?
Well, the metal one, we had people come out and put it up.
Okay.
The wooden one is just a couple of supports with a plastic roof and my boyfriend put it up for us.
Okay, and the wooden one's the one further to the left. Do you know, does your boyfriend have any particular construction expertise at all?
Say that again?
Yes. Does he have any particular construction expertise? Has he worked in the construction industry for any extended period of time as a
Well,
contractor?
I don't know. Have you ever worked in the construction industry?
Okay.
There you go.
Our principal concern is just as to the structural integrity of that structure. From my just driving out there and taking a quick look, the other looked pretty sound. We were just concerned about the integrity of that one, that that would not be a risk of falling on anybody. And the nice folks from the county, did you indicate you could have somebody just take a look at that structure and give an opinion on its structural integrity? Okay, so would you be able to come back in a month?
Well, let me look at my schedule and see. what
Okay,
we're
if you
doing.
could, I don't want to inconvenience you terribly, I just want to make sure we don't approve a structure that's not sound.
I tell you, Ms. Lovingood, a number of folks have gone, we've all gone out to your house. We've all been out there. We check
I
everything out
figured
before
you
we do that.
had. Yeah.
And also the county people, and we did check it. This came in as a code complaint, so that's one of the reasons we want to be safely sure that it's constructed the right way. And there is a lot of concern on that, so.
It looks like I'm gonna be in town with you. You're going up to March 13th.
Yes.
I'll be in
Yes.
town on March 13th.
I don't have the power to do that, but I would make a motion that what we do is to allow county staff can they get out there within a couple of weeks and take a look?
Okay, now I'm not gonna be home in a couple of weeks. Do I need to be there?
You don't need to be there as long as
Okay.
you're good with
Around.
county staff coming
Okay.
on the property, looking at it, that's fine, because they don't need to get inside your house or anything to see it, right? Okay, so,
And the other caveat is to go ahead, dismantle and get rid of the tent.
yes.
So let's go ahead and make a motion to that.
Yeah, my motion would be that we continue this matter to next month's calendar, to the March 13th calendar, and that it'll be continued with the deletion of request number 3, which was the request to reduce it to allow for the tent, which will have to be taken down. And then, so that would be the motion.
Okay, got a motion, do I have a second? Second, Brian? All right, let's call for the vote. We're going to continue this case for 30 days. Ms. Lovingood, we're going to continue this case with a 5-0 vote till our next meeting, which is March 13th, I believe.
At
So
1 o'clock?
we'll see you back then.
Okay.
There will be somebody from the county coming out to instruct the structural integrity of that building.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
All
Have
right.
a nice
Thank you.
day.
Thank you.
John, let's go to, where are we now? 22, I believe.
Yes, sir. Variance case V22, Mount Zion United Methodist Church, request a variance to increase the maximum allowable sign height from 8 feet to 9 feet, to increase the maximum allowable sign area from 64 square feet to 78 square feet, and to increase the maximum allowable electronic sign area from 32 square feet to 50 square feet in land lots 758, 826, and 827 of the 16th district. The property is located on the southeast corner of Bishop Lake Road and Johnson Ferry Road, and on the west side of Bishop Lake Court. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V22? Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, sir, for the purpose of the record, if you would, please give us your name.
I'm Gary Duryea, the trustee chairman.
Okay, sir, if you would, go ahead, tell us what you want.
What we would like to do is, just as you explained, we're trying to retrofit our existing structure of our sign and to upgrade it to an LED sign, and I've kind of got a PowerPoint to go through here. I
Very
believe
well.
you guys are desktop. Just a little bit of background on Mount Zion. They're, I guess, 150 plus years old. I've been a very active member and been on the board for 3 years, but been an active member for about 15 years. We're at 1770 Johnson's Ferry, you've already covered that. And we moved down the road, we used to be at the Post Oak Trit, we moved down the road to the current location in 1964. We've got 500 people that are pretty active in there on a weekly basis, and I think about 2,000 members. There's 7 days a week activity, and we bump up between between Bishop Lake Road and Johnson's Ferry Road. There's about 300-ish, probably meters in that range on both sides of the road. We have the troop and the pack 795 highlighted there, along with the preschool, and there's a ton of outreach programs. It's kind of our background. The application, we want to keep the existing structure, and I'll show you a picture of it real quick here. It's about 50 square foot, the retrofitted piece, and we just want to retrofit an LED sign in it. And it would increase the height from 8 foot to 9 foot. And I guess there was a few other items that the code variance, I wasn't aware of the 64 square foot from a limitation from a sign, but we know the 32 to the 50 was for the LED was a variance, and then or the height restriction. Currently, the sign out there right now is about 7 foot tall. So, but I believe it's allowable to 8. On the upper left is kind of where we're going towards, and then the lower right is what we currently have. So the older structure, it's 7 foot tall on the pillars. Between it, it's 10 foot between it, but we're looking to use that same structure and update the inset into what you're seeing in the upper left. Just another picture, a little clearer picture, cleaner picture, but it does raise the sign height from the current 7 foot to about 9 foot. This is just kind of a gauging of the sign. They're 6-inch letters, and the next couple of slides I'll walk through. I went outside, and across the street, there's the church across the street, and this is southbound at the stoplight. And if you see the sign right there, kind of in the middle, so it's already starting to be reduced, the structure of the sign.
Now, that's somebody,
I'm
just for
sorry?
clarification, that's another church? Is that your church I'm looking at?
This is the church, yes, this is our church.
This is your church,
That's-
okay.
Then to the right, there's another one, St. Peter and Paul's.
Oh, I
And they
see,
have
okay.
they have a sign too, I believe. so.
Okay.
This is 150 foot back, and then here's 300 foot back. And by that time, you can see, and the sign speed limit right here is showing is 45, and you know they're going a heck of a lot faster than 45. So anyway. Same thing, the other side, northbound, 150 foot back, 300 foot back. So what we wanted to do here is the relative distance to the sign in the road as you go through. I mean, it's starting to be very unclear at the 150 foot back, the speed at the vehicles pass. So it's all about the visibility of the sign and just making sure that we can see it. The other piece right now with the current sign structure, it's about 10 foot by 5 foot. So the the code around the LED sign, the 32 square foot, basically takes off about 40% of that sign that you can't see already. So, right now, the road footage is on both sides, 300 meters-ish on both Johnson's Ferry and then Bishop Lake Road. So the other option would be to put a couple other signs in too. We got 3 years. This is something that I found through, and this is just an example, I guess, from the guidance. It's the United States Sign Council, and it's from 2006. What it tries to do is gives the complexity and the vehicle reaction time. If you go through here down to the speed, the bottom one, technically they're 45 miles an hour. We're in a complex lane area, so there's 4 lanes, there's a turn lane. What it's saying that vehicle reaction time is about 10, so what it recommends is a sign square footage around 250 foot. I don't want anything that big. We're backfilling to within the code. So, but just to say, okay, this is what they're saying if you want a free standalone sign.
Now, just for clarification, the sign, the United States Sign Council, is this a federal government?
I'm sure it's
statistics? Where did it?
This came through, I went through and researched if there was any guidance on sign, and this is probably has no, what I would say, standing in from a government requirement, but it's one of these sign statistics out here.
Okay, very good.
Again, the picture after, just kind of what we're looking for. It's nothing big, nothing gaudy. And I know there was a question a while before about advertising on it. Of course, we're going to advertise what's inside, but there isn't anything from that end. It's a church, so we're nonprofit. The option, if we're not approved, we don't want to alienate the community. We're known as the Pumpkin Church. We sell pumpkins it's the youth program. They do the scouts. My son's a Boy Scout. He's going through the programs there too. Nothing's optimal. We could go back and reduce it to 32 square foot and backfill it. That's an option too. We want to be flexible, accommodating kind of the community itself, but we could add, the other option is we could add a couple additional signs on each side too, but I don't think we want to go down that path. We'd rather say, okay, let's have one sign focused on it, rather than have one or two more on each side, so. Any questions?
Well, we're going to get to that.
Yep.
So basically, you want to redo the sign, and you want to raise it a foot, 2 foot is what it looks like.
Correct.
And the pictorial that you showed us is exactly what it's going to look like when you're finished.
Yeah, this is what it would be, but if we're flexible too, if it's
And it's
something.
basically all church-related information on there.
Correct.
Have a hobo dinner every once in a while. You'll have kids.
Every Wednesday night, you're welcome to show up.
There you go. I need to be saved like everybody else, so, okay, anything? Or more so. Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, good.
Okay.
But we'll
if
be
you would-
flexible, whatever.
Thank you very much, Gary. If you just have a seat, we'll hear from some other folks at this time.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Flamm, we're ready for you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jill Flamm. I'm representing East Cobb Civic Association with our recommendations concerning petition V22. As we understand it, the applicant wants to replace the existing message board with a digital sign with minimal expense. However, this requires a variance, as the new digital sign is larger than what is currently allowed. Applicant states that the hardship is that this is an aging congregation and a larger sign is needed so they can read it from the road. ECCA does not see a hardship for the variance for a larger sign. The current sign can be easily read from the road. A digital sign also allows for larger fonts, so if they want to increase the font size, it is very easy to do so with software programming. And a digital sign can change messages every 20 seconds, so more information can be displayed with a message board. In addition, right across the street from this church is a digital sign. It is in compliance with the variance, with the code for digital signs. St. Anne's, which is down the road on Roswell Road, has a digital sign. They are in compliance. As you go down Johnson Ferry, you have digital signs. Once again, with the exception of one, they are all in compliance with the digital sign ordinance. As ECCA cannot find a hardship for this variance, we are recommending denial. Without one clearly stated, any church or business could replace their current message board with a digital sign that is larger than what is currently allowed. Some of these existing reader boards, down Johnson Ferry especially, are larger than digital billboards. Finally, bottom line, ECCA recommends denial of this application. There is no hardship and opens the doors for other variances for larger signs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Flamm. Okay, anybody else wish to speak in opposition to case V22? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Mr. McDonald, Brand, if you would, you represent the district, so if you lead us into discussion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually don't have any questions. I've been talking to Gary and Jill for the past few weeks, and I've got a proposal that I want to put forth, but I also want to open it up to my colleagues here for any questions y'all might have before I do that.
Fred?
Mr. Chairman, I may have some questions, but first I think I'd like to hear what the proposal is before I ask any questions,
Okay.
if that would be appropriate.
All right. So as you guys know, when we talked about it in the work session, I've struggled a bit with this case because there seem to be pretty compelling points both for and against what has been requested. It makes sense to me that the church wants to update its signage to take advantage of the technology and convenience of an electronic message board. And since the current code would require downsizing the current message board, I can also see why they would seek a variance. From what I heard and understand, I think the church made a strong case for increasing the height, increasing the size of the overall sign, and increasing the size of the electronic message board. At the same time, I'm sensitive to the fact that this is a residentially zoned area and that additional variances to code are being sought to increase all three dimensions beyond the provisions of the current code. So we could still make a motion to approve everything that's been proposed, but I'm not sure everybody on the board or the staff has a stomach to approve all three variances, even if we would all agree that there is a strong case for it. We could continue the case, and you know, if Gary wanted more time to work on some options or tweak the, you know, current proposal, or to confirm what I'd like to propose. Or we could go ahead and move ahead to my proposal, and that's this, and this is something that I did talk with Gary about. I'd like to offer up a revision that would allow the church to increase the height, increase the size of the overall sign, and increase the size of the electronic message board, but would only require one variance, and that would be for the electronic message board to be 45 square feet, so 10 feet by 4.5 feet. That's larger than the current message board, and 40% larger than the code for an electronic message board, even in a commercial area. That would fit in the current brick structure, and it would allow the church to increase the sign height from 7 feet to 8 feet and increase the overall sign size from 56 feet to 63 plus, you know, right at what code allows for overall signage area. So that's basically what I would like to propose.
So that would eliminate what variances?
The first two variances
First two variances.
would be negated by
We'd
doing this.
eliminate number,
And I think the design will work that
I
way.
Yeah.
think that's a great compromise. I think by allowing, for what I saw, the reader board or it wouldn't hurt anything. And I think there is a need of it because the speed is, when I was out there, traffic just goes crazy out there.
It's an arterial roadway,
Yeah.
30 to 40,000, four
Four
So the
lanes
digital-
divided, so,
And digital is the way
think-
everybody's going.
right,
So,
yeah.
I see that this would be a win by eliminating the first two and approving the other one, and you're knocking 5 feet off anyway from 50 feet to 45 feet, correct?
I think that's a good compromise.
I
Yeah,
think that's great.
exactly,
I
exactly.
think that's a
Yep,
great compromise.
yep.
Fred, you want to jump in?
Just very briefly, to the distinguished member of the Board of Zoning Appeals from the Second District, I appreciate your hard work on those points, and note that you make a point as well that this would allow the church to maintain their existing structure rather than having to modify it, demolish it, or radically change it in terms of the brick structure that's already in place. I just want to make certain that either you could address or county staff could address that in no way would this change in any way create any unsafe condition to drivers, in your opinion?
I think the code says that the message has got to remain static for every 20 seconds or something like that. There are also rules about illumination at night and all that, which obviously they would be called upon to live by. But other than that, in terms of other safety questions, I can't answer it. I don't know. But it sits, you know, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, other than that, I would just hope the East Cobb Civic Association would feel that in accordance with those of you who aren't 60 yet, there was a top 40 song in the 1980s called 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad by an artist called Meatloaf. I would just hope that your hard work would be appreciated.
Thanks. I bet that's the first time Meatloaf's been referenced
Well,
In a variance.
in a various meeting.
you know, I'm a Motown guy myself, so gotta have love. All right, wait a minute. You're gonna make that motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve a variance to allow an electronic sign area of 45 square feet, but deny the first two variance requests for sign height and the overall size of the sign in case V 22.
Well, on behalf of Meatloaf, I'll second that.
All right, let's all call for the vote and get this thing underway. Okay, we're gonna approve that 5-0. Just by way of a comment, Jill Flam, I would certainly appreciate you being here and your constant watch over these neighborhoods. It's very much appreciated. Gary, it's been a long time since anybody's done a presentation that you have done here today, and you've done an excellent job, even with all your USDA statistics. I want to compliment you. But the church has been there a long time. We want to keep you going, and I will take you up on the hobo supper occasionally. I need all the help I can get. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just finish up. I've got a couple of announcements to make. First of all, I need a motion on our February the 11th meeting and also our January the 9th meeting. I'll entertain a motion on those.
Motion to approve the minutes of the January 9th and the February 11th.
Okay, I've got a motion. I have a second.
I'll second.
There we go. Let's all just rock and roll here. Here we go. And we're going to approve that 5-0. Anything else to come before this board today? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for going through the new strip search out there. I mean, that's brand new in Cobb County, and everybody's certainly enjoying that. So again, thank you. Have a great weekend and enjoy yourselves.